All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you? It was great to have everybody here yesterday. And I'm actually, and Casey, maybe you can help me or text me. I'm trying to figure out actually how to pull up the live stream on my Facebook so I can read your comments. So I'll be working on that in the background. One thing I want to do as some people get in here is, which is going to be really cool, we've had some amazing number of people just pouring into the Facebook group and posting and talking about their homework, sharing, what are those things you'd love to be sharing and celebrating a year from now? Let's see, here we go. Let's see, I think I'm pulling it up. There, we got it. Sherry, good morning. Hey, Crystal, good to see you. Oh, Dominica, yes. There we go. Donna, Lene, awesome. So got some just fantastic people already coming in here. Now, here is something I want to share with you guys, or you all y'all, which is really cool. So we're going to do a drawing today. I am a huge action taker. It's all about taking action and doing things. And yes, Carrie, it is another snowy morning. So I don't know if there's any Canadians on yet. But evidently Donna said my oxygen's crooked. We got about 6 inches of snow. It's 18 degrees. So for you Canadians, that is -8 degrees Celsius. I just wanted to convert that so you could understand our misery here on a fine spring day. Actually, we like snow. So Luke, yeah. Woohoo. Yeah, agreed. So here's everybody that took part, who actually posted, who answered the question. They either typed it out. They also did videos, and I have everybody's name who did that in a bowl. Donna did this. I don't know who, the order or anything, but let me just give a shout out to everybody. So Janet, I think it's Greamy. Thank you. Joni Rosebrock, Suzanne Scholler, Adam Paterno, another awesome Canadian, Lene, Eric Shipton, Gary Marco, Rick Amiton, Cindy Parwano, CJ Kusler, Patty Ridgway, Amy Neely. Also, Lene, you did 2 videos. So you got a double entry, by the way. Good for you. Double entry for Lene. Chris Beer, Luis Rivera, and Michael Amira. So here we go. I'm just going to pull this out. And here's what you're going to win. I'm going to send you, so whoever wins, just send me a private message or an email. You should have any one of my email addresses. Those emails you're getting go back to me. And I'm going to send you 3 copies of the book, the galley copy that I have. That this is not the version that's for sale. And I'm going to sign one for you and give you 2 extra to do whatever you want with. Give to a friend, share. Okay, so excited to get that in the mail for you. So let's just see who this is. And it's this one. And who is this? It is Christopher Beer. And I think you might be in Europe, so I don't know how that's going to work. But I tell you what, Christopher, let me know. And maybe if you're here, put yourself in the chat, buddy. Are you in US or Canada? I thought you might actually be over in Europe. Joni, let's see here. But where's Chris? Chris, let me know where. Oh, you're in North Carolina. Done, dude. Shoot me an email with your address, and we'll get these in the mail to you today, my friend. All of you, way to take action. We're going to have some other prizes tomorrow. So we're not only giving away a couple books tomorrow, but we have something else we're going to add in there to make it even gooder. Okay. So I want to start with this. Yesterday, we really talked about the importance of purpose. And I'm hopeful that as you guys, shared some of my story and just based on all the comments, what is let's see. Brian Keyser said he put his on WhatsApp. Brian, I saw that come in this morning and I haven't gotten to WhatsApp. Okay. Wow. Multi-channel, Brian, you're challenging my technical expertise, but that will count in the future, buddy. I want you to reach in. And also I would just give you this as an option too. If it's just going live in a group is just like never going to happen. shoot me in a private email. I think there's just something really powerful when you take what's in your head and you put it down and share it with somebody. So if you just don't even want to participate in the group, write a comment that's in a group like that, shoot me an email. That'd be awesome too. And so I want to bring you back a few days so here's what we're going to be really focusing on today in the challenge. Okay, so here we are. Our goal is to just launch us out of here in a way that's going to really give us some just simple yet actionable things that we can do. So yesterday was about the importance of purpose, the why of purpose, the what purpose is, and we're going to get more into that. Today, there is an absolute key element. If you guys remember the airplane story, on course 3% of the time, what does it need to get back on course? It has to know its true north, has to know its destination, and it has to know its present position. Today, I want to dig in and give you some things I think around true north. Now, first of all, I think there's two really important questions that we have to answer as people, okay? And the first one is, and this is a big part of my faith, so I just want to share this real quick and then talk about something that really, because I know we have people here from a lot of different backgrounds. But for me, the first thing was answering this question. And A.W. Tozer said, one of the most important things you can know about another person is their understanding of the nature of God. Okay? That was a huge, after being in God's presence at the accident, it became just a quest of mine to just understand this amazing person. I had this deep relationship. Actually, the deep relationship was already there, and I wanted to understand it more because that's how you grow closer. So that's a huge part of that. But the second part is who am I? Not who I see in the mirror, but what is that best version of myself? And so it comes up with a couple key areas. We're going to do something really fun today. And I'm going to pull out my iPad and see if I can do this live for you, drawing this out. But it's about your identity. It's about your passions. It's about your core values and how all these work together. And I want you to think about this identity, okay? And that is, who are you? Maybe said a different way is this, is who am I? Who am I? Who am I really? Okay. So think about that. Here, I'm going to pull up, make sure I'm getting all these quotes. Rick, did you get in? Driving, but listening. Okay, good. Looks like everything is working. Okay, great, Patty Ann. So here, who am I? I want you to, there's a couple things about identity that I think are important to think about and understand. Now, here's the first one. This true identity, this best version of yourself, it is not a secret. I felt like it was a secret forever. Like that best version of myself, like it was this buried treasure. Okay? It's not, but it is a process. It's a process over time, because I want you to think about it. For me, I'm 54 years old. I have spent 54 years developing this whole, all this stuff that's in my head, right? I have lived a very long life, and I've had all these incredible experiences, good and bad. I've tried things that have worked out. I've tried things that I've gotten really burned. Okay. Also, along my life, there's things that people said to me. Yesterday, I talked about mentors, right? People that said, no, John, you can do this. Don't quit. I'll never forget when one of my close friends in our squadron, he was a month ahead of me, and he died landing on the aircraft carrier. One of the hardest things I ever went through, made me doubt everything about myself and what I was doing, because guess what? The next month, I was supposed to land on that aircraft carrier. And he was the top in his class. And there were some other people in our class that actually quit because of this happened. They said, this is not for me. And a couple instructors pulled me aside and said, John, don't quit. You're going to make it. You're going to do great. Just trust me when I tell you this. I'm here. Let's talk. Keep moving forward. And honestly, I don't know what I would have done had somebody not spoken those words into me. Those are positive words, right? But how about some of those people that speak the negative words? When I got out, when I was starting my first company, I had somebody tell me I would never, ever, not even a chance of succeeding as an entrepreneur, that I was putting my family at risk, and that they were embarrassed of me and ashamed of me for going from a corporate job to being an entrepreneur. And I got to tell you, man, that sunk in. Now, let me ask you a question. Was it true? At the time, I not only accepted that lie about me as a truth, and I let it sink in, but that first company, remember that first company I had with my friend, and I told you guys about yesterday, you get betrayed by somebody? There is no doubt in my mind that I had a big role to play in that, and it was hard to accept, because in that was my first role. I was trying to prove that person wrong versus do what was right for the company. So all this stuff is in our head, everything that we've done and said and things like that, okay? So maybe you guys have a time like that. Maybe even just throw in the stream, in the chat, just that, maybe one of those positive times, like when you were there, just even maybe put the person's name and just say, yeah, you know what? It was my coach said something to me. I sure remember that. Because, you know, it'd be really cool coming out of this. Maybe you think about somebody from your past and you hadn't thought of for years. And I'm going to tell you one today that I haven't thought of for 30 years. And you guys might even know him. So I'm going to tell you who that is. All right. So here's the other part, is that, guess what? Yeah, I love this quote from Zig Ziglar. No matter how hard you try, because this is our programming. Think of your brain as a computer. You cannot consistently behave in a way that is inconsistent with how you see yourself. Okay? Think about that again. Brad said, how I agree, John. Crazy how even as believers, we often believe things about ourselves that are not true. And I think that's the human nature. And man, one of these days, you know what we'll have to do is do like an after hours Q&A where we just, I'm really trying to keep this what I call plain glass. So it's just really open to everybody here. And I'm happy to do one afterwards that's stained glass, and we can just really dig into some of this, because you're right, Brad. But it is a process. And I can actually show you, I think, where some of that stuff is also in Scripture. So no matter how we are, no matter how hard we try. So this is something I want to just share with you about identity and how powerful it is. Now think of me as this cute as a button 4-year-old little boy. I don't know, Don, I don't know if I have any pictures of me when I was 4, but no, I'm kidding. So, but think about this. We drive up to this new house. My mom and dad, they are so excited. We roll into this little town in Burnsville, Minnesota, and there's a house under construction. And I'm a little kid, and I think this is the coolest thing ever. And the house isn't finished. It's all framed up, and we're there to look at it. It's a small house, but it's new. And you guys know, in a new construction, if you've ever been there, and the stairs to the second floor, they were just the risers, the steps were there, and it was open between the two steps. And oh, Donna brought this in. Okay. So my mom is a painter, but this is me. I think I'm a little bit older than 4. Thank you, honey. But my mom painted that. That's me as a little guy. Seriously. Look at that. And some of you guys didn't believe when we were in Circle of Champions. I played the violin. I've been doing it for a while. But okay, so I'm crawling up these stairs, and all of a sudden I'm halfway up the stairs, and I'm looking down through these stairs at the basement. And I absolutely freeze. I remember my little heart was just pounding. I was absolutely convinced I was going to take a header through these stairs and land on my head and hurt myself. I was scared to death. I'm 4 years old, and my dad's at the top of these stairs, and he's like, "Come on, buddy, come on, you can do it. Just take it." I literally couldn't move. I was frozen, and he had to come down and pick me up and carry me to the top of the stairs. I did not want to go to the top of the stairs. Started crying. That experience was so powerful. Do you know that 10 years later, when I was in middle school, and the whole house is finished, right? All the stairs are filled in and they're carpeted, and there's walls there now, and my bedroom's upstairs. Every time I went up to my room, I would run up the stairs 2 at a time to get to my room because I was convinced that I was going to something was going to break or I was going to fall through. There was just a fear of heights. Now, also, as I grow up, guess what? We lived in this really wooded area. It was a whole new development. And all my friends in the neighborhood, one of their favorite things to do was to go back in the woods and build tree forts and climb trees. And I'd go a few times, man, and I would stay on the ground. I was scared to death. And you know what they started doing? They started all getting together as a group, and I'd watch them. And they would wander off toward going and playing in the woods, and they stopped even looking in my direction. Now, what I interpreted that is, right? They don't like me. I'm not cool. I'm no fun. I'm the dorky kid. Nobody likes me. And I would sit there alone in my house watching these kids laughing and going off to have fun. That sunk in. Guess what that did? Self-image, self-identity, man. I was a lonely kid. Okay. Eric Shipton asked, what is Circle of Champions? Donna, help me remember. We'll circle back on that, Eric. Okay, I'll make sure we let you know what that is. Now, I want you to fast forward a little bit, right? Like, so now I've developed this really low self-image. And I'm not only not a very good sports guy, I'm also playing the violin. You guys just saw the painting, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I wasn't in the cool crowd. How's that? Okay, so let me fast forward this to you. I get to high school. I have a couple friends, and I'm starting to actually break in by senior year of some people that I'm actually now enjoying hanging out with. And they announced the school trip, the senior class trip. We're all going, and we're going to Taylor's Falls. It's on the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin, and it's known for its cliff diving, 100-foot cliffs. I'm like, oh, you seriously, guys? Like, this is what you pick? So I decided I almost didn't go to my senior trip because I didn't want to be in that situation. And I get there, and in this, my friend Larry and I were sitting there, and everybody's like this healthy distance away from the edge of this. We all climbed up to this 100-foot cliff, and all the guys, everybody's daring each other. Nobody is about to jump. Literally 100-foot. There's a marker there. And I looked over at my buddy Larry, and I said, dude, we should jump. I was totally kidding. He goes, that's an awesome idea. And he grabs my wrist and he just runs. And the next thing I know, I am in the air, absolutely terrified. 3.5 seconds later, I slammed into the water at 52 miles an hour. And yes, I'm an engineer. I calculated it. So 52 miles an hour. Now, what shattered when I hit the water was part of that identity that I built, that I can't do big things, that I can't do fun things. Because afterwards, everybody was like, man, Ramstead, I can't believe you did that. Like, you're the last person in the world. I'm like, yeah, it's because Larry dragged me off the cliff, tried to kill me. But I got to tell you, that started to open the door, because here's what happened is, because this is interesting. Chris, yeah, I actually did calculate that. I won't tell you what mass I used in the equation, though. How's that? Some of you guys will get that reference. Here's what happened, though. Fast forward, though. And identity is still, it's so powerful. It's something I wasn't aware of you had to work on. It's the summer of 1986. I'm sitting in a movie theater with my girlfriend, and we're watching this incredible movie. It's called Top Gun. And I was a Navy ROTC at the time. And I was about to go back and do my selection sheet. Did I want to go to aviation or submarines or surface or something else? Navy SEALs. I was actually never interested in that. Too much sweat. You're sweating way too much. And I watched that movie, and I walked out of that movie with a completely different response than everybody else. And I think it was just being despondent. Because I saw what was on that screen, and I said, man, that is not me. I went back to my unit and didn't even put down aviation. I put down submarines, surface, and intelligence, being an intel officer. And here's what I actually started thinking, man, I realized I'd given up on a dream I'd had. I'd realized I was now settling for. I was choosing something that I knew I could do well at as an engineer, submarines, and I'd spent some time on submarines, that I could actually do that well, but I would never be really, I didn't think, fulfilled. I'm like, okay, I got this big dream. Remember this? These big goals. What I was doing is just saying, if you guys remember these wings, right? If it focuses, right? I'm giving up on this. And I made a choice in that moment. I said, you know what? No. I went back to my officer, my class officer, and I said, can I change my selection? Because I talked to my dad and some other people. But I got to tell you, this identity, what it is, it's like this programming that we have in our head, and we have to deprogram ourselves. And I'm going to show you some things on how to do that. And I'm going to walk you through a couple things, and then we're going to show you how to put these together. And I'm going to give you something really simple to do at the end of the night that I think can be really helpful. That's right, Joe. I want to go in the danger zone. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so here's what's next. I think passions are a huge clue to who you are, what makes you tick, and some of those core wirings that we all need to connect to. Okay. Now, here's what I'd like you guys to do is just think about throwing the chat here in Facebook. We got a whole bunch of folks here. What is something that you're passionate about? Remember, these are things that you love to do. It's effortless. Maybe it's something you'd love to do when you were younger. When you're doing it, it just makes time fly. I want to actually share with you just an example. Okay, this. I was with a client of mine. He had a 500-person company, and I said, hey, buddy, what are your passions? First thing that came out of his mouth was fly fishing. Awesome. Write it down. Listen, we are not self-editing here. There is no judgment here. We get stuff out, the logical, the emotional, and then we check with it and we put it up and we make sure that it's in alignment. Okay. If you guys know what I'm saying, it's important. It's a process. I know it works for me. And he goes, hey, listen, I said, what's going on when you're fly fishing? He goes, man, I'm alone. This is my time to just talk with God and listen and really just have these, deep conversations about what's important. I'm like, wow, okay, awesome. You love a time alone in nature, just praying and talking with God. He's like, totally lights up. I'm like, what else is going on? Felt like there was something else. He goes, man, I love going fly fishing and bringing up my sons, business partners, people I'm mentoring, even clients and customers, just one-on-one, having 4 or 5 hours on a river. So much better than golf because we're just sitting there all day, catching fish and releasing them and talking about what really matters. I'm like, oh my goodness. So you are passionate about having meaningful conversation and really kind of coaching, mentoring, discipling people. He lights up again. I said, dude, what else is going on? There's got to be something else. He goes, yeah, I volunteer for Healing Waters. It's a organization that takes wounded vets who are ambulatory. It means that they can walk. And we bring them to the mountains. I used to volunteer before my accident. It was awesome. We teach them how to fly fish. We guide with them. They catch a fish. And then he's like, you know what? He just came alive. It's like the most exciting thing ever is when they're catching that fish and we take that picture. And I said, would it be fair to say that a passion of yours is to teach somebody a new skill, show them how to use it so that they can see that benefit for themselves in the world they live in? And he's like, oh my gosh, yeah. And I said, okay, here's a question for you. In your role right now as a CEO, because dude, you're on that plateau, you are on that burnout. Do any of those elements of your passions, are they showing up in what you're doing every day? He's like, virtually not. I said, what would it look like to change your role so that you are doing more of having conversations with people, mentoring people, equipping and coaching your direct reports so that you can even get to the point where you just remove yourself from all the decisions? And that's what he did. 2 years later, That company had transformed. It just went into hyper growth mode again. It was from one person taking a job that they were just feeling like, man, I'm ready to leave and I'm burned out, connecting their passions to what they were doing. But those passions were a huge part of his identity. Okay. So here's the next one. Check chat, Donna said. Check chat. What, hun? Playing piano, guitar, singing worship. Oh, these are awesome. Thanks, hun. I love worship. Not good at it yet. What, not good at worship yet, Brad? Or is that not good at piano and guitar? You know, I'm not judging, buddy, but I'm just curious here. Just kidding. Wow, let's see. What self-identity is God allowing you to drive or shatter? I'm hoping that this is keeping up. I think it is. It's not. All right. Let's see. I love learning and then sharing with others what I've learned. Brian said, I'm not doing what I love. I used to be a chaplain. I haven't been able to do that again. I loved it. Brian, you know what? There's probably some stuff we could do that. Right. I love hospitality.
They want to know about Circle of Champions. How they can
I will talk. Donna popped her head in here. I will share about Circle of Champions at the end real quickly. It's something I've been doing for our book launch team. Okay. And hey, Donna, maybe you can actually on the spread the word page, put that just in the chat for folks, because it's the bottom of that page. They can actually join the book launch team and then get all the stuff for Circle of Champions. Okay. If you could do that, would be awesome. All right. So here's something else. I'm going to talk. What time is it? I want to make sure I'm on time for you all. Okay. The next one is, I really believe, and this is in the area of working in our core values. Okay. It's interesting. When I got into coaching, as God, I just really felt led me into this area. One of my mentors, some of you guys might know Michael Marks. He said he works with some of the most influential leaders globally. He's an executive coach. And I was always looking, what's the difference between life coaching and executive coaching? But here's what he said. It doesn't matter what kind of coaching it is. Life coaching, whether it's like Donna, as she's transitioning from being a full-time mom for her whole life, following her dream and her calling, to being an empty nester. Very difficult transition. And I think it was Janet even talked about that for herself yesterday too, right? Hard transition. That is a great life coaching opportunity. To my clients that are business clients running organizations, the most transformative work is what Michael said, that comes when you can identify the person you're working with or help them identify their core values and work in those core values, make decisions in that place of core values. Because here's what core values are. Okay, and that's this. A, they are right now affecting every decision that you make and ultimately the entire direction of your life. When we are not in touch with our core values and we have to live outside of our core values, and I believe that level of stress and anxiety and sometimes panic and uncertainty that we feel, and it sometimes gets worse. We're wondering, like, where is this coming from? And I don't think you have to look much farther than your values. Because in certain situations, back to the tyranny of they tell you, these are the values that you should have. These are the values of our best employees. And I got to tell you guys, we have to stop shoulding on ourselves. We have to get to core values. As an example, I was working for a company and it was all, and Michael, you talked about this in your video, right? It was all about the transaction and getting in the volume of work, and we took pride in it. But in that environment, my core value is family. My core value is my marriage, but I'm literally working 80 hours a week and I'm on a plane 3 to 4 days a week. How much am I honoring that core value of family? I'm totally out of alignment. So I either got to rectify with myself as maybe that's not a core value. And it's okay, guys. There's no judgment here. Some of those things you think you should have are actually not yours when you go. I'm going to show you how to challenge some of those. We want to get to those ones that I believe have just been hardwired in there. Okay. All right, Jeff, you love to teach, inspire, and give. These are some awesome things. I love empowering others to realize the greater level of their potential. I do too. Lene, I love you, Daddy. You're my biggest inspiration. Lene is talking to her dad, Luke, who is also in here. And you guys have an amazing family. Love it. Okay, core values. When you're in touch with them, imagine being able to make decisions confidently. Know exactly what to say yes to and know what to say no to. Somebody calls you up and says, hey, can you volunteer for this? And you go, no. What? You always have say yes. Yeah, but you know what? I've really thought about it. This is where I'm going with my life. This is what's important to me. This is what either my passions are or what God's put in my heart. In doing that, I could do that, but that's going to slow me down from going to where I believe I'm meant to go right now. But I will help you find the perfect person. As a matter of fact, I know some people. Having that clarity to say no, because remember, when you say yes, whether it's a board opportunity, a volunteer opportunity, a job opportunity, trust me, you are saying no to something else. No to your husband or your wife or your kids or whatever else it happens to be, okay? Core values, they're a description of your character, how you behave, what you do. And you know what? I believe that they hold firm even in, times of difficulty. Now, if you guys have the book, because I was going to do this, but it's just too hard to do here. And you can also just Google a list of core values. This is my list that I've come up with. But here's what you do. If you actually see here, this is a list. What I have people do, and I'm going to walk you through the process. Or you can just Google, you can print this out. You know what, Donna? Maybe we can make this just a handout that we can put in the group as a download. You know what? We'll do that by the end of the day. I'm just going to take this out. You guys can download it to walk through this process, okay? Because it's part of the core values e-course that we're also putting out. But here's what happens is once I identify the values, and here's how I do it. When I look at a list like that, first of all, I'm ticking off stuff that I think I want to do, right? That's like, I want to be known for that. But the question is that really core? Now, here's a process. You go through a list like that, and first of all, you have to identify which one of your candidates. I like to get it down to your top 10, right? Janet said she loves to be generous. Like generosity can absolutely be a core value. Donna said, Janet, I think we are two peas in a pod. I got to tell you, even watching your video, absolutely. Eric says Amazon says you can't have the book until the 29th. Except I'm gonna we'll get you guys a resource we'll put in the group. Dominica, awesome. Okay, it only shows me the last couple. I just want to let you guys know. Okay, so I don't know why, and it stopped showing me comments in the StreamYard, so we're doing our best here. So then the other thing is now I want to personalize, right? Like let's just say, as an example, Donna, you were talking about generosity. You and Janet might have different notions and ideas of what generosity is. As an example, maybe my definition of generosity is that I will always be generous with my time, right? Maybe my thing of generosity is just I'm going to make myself available to people. Donna, and I know Donna, I would guess, Donna, if you want to put it in there, but your definition of generosity is serving others, creating memories for people, making every moment special. Donna it's amazing. And when she makes these moments and memories for our family or even friends, she does it for people we know. And all of a sudden, they light up and they've had just this amazing day because Donna's just so generous with her gifts and her talents. I know that lights her up. Okay. So we have to then personalize that value, that word to ourselves. Then we have to put our value to the test. And we have to ask ourselves, is that really a core value? If I could not be generous, if that was taken away from my life, if I had to go work 60 hours a week and I wasn't going to spend a lot of time with my family the next 2 years, would that really hurt? Or, and some people are wired differently, Be like, I'd be okay with that because maybe my value is financial security. And I talk it over with my wife. And I say, you know what? We're willing to be out of balance for a season to be able to get this result because it's really important to all of us. Okay. So I want you to know there isn't a right or a wrong here. Okay. Now, here's the next thing. And I think this is really important to stay on course. How do you measure your actions against your values? Like, right, we got to make all these decisions. What am I saying yes to? What am I saying no to? Right? What steps are we taking to honor our values? And some of you guys were in the Circle of Champions, and we tackled this in breakout rooms. And I just want to share with you what came out of that, which was so encouraging. And we had some great ideas. But to sum it up, here's what folks said is, it's all about having some people in our life that can help us be accountable. And I call that a wingman. Who is that person I can go to and say, listen, these are my values. And maybe you can help me go through and say, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is something I do, and I revisit it quarterly. How well am I honoring that value? And if I'm consistently not honoring that value, back to the litmus test, and it's not really bothering me, I'm like, you know what? And I've done this. Maybe that wasn't one of my core values. Is there something else in this that I actually need to get clarity on? Right? This isn't just a one and done thing, right? Aha moment. Say yes to something is saying no to something else. Absolutely. Jeff, it is not too late to start over. Let me tell you something, buddy. I'm 54. I've had clients that have gone through a process like this that are in their 70s and 80s. This is not about radical transformation. You know what it is? It's about finding one small thing in each day, just doing something a little bit gooder. Okay? Trust me, this whole process, what you're seeing and what I'm sharing to you today, I want you to hear me on this, buddy. Just to get real, this has been 9 years of me working in this area. And sometimes I take 2 steps forwards and 5 steps backwards. And it's frustrating. And sometimes I take 2 steps forward and I don't slide backwards. And man, those are some really good days. Okay, Jeff, trust me. And I think what is an aha moment is that it feels overwhelming. Now, here's what I've seen. Jeff, let me just share with you something for myself, because I totally understand how you're feeling. Let me just go back to this. I totally understand how you're feeling right now. And when I looked at the person I wanted to be and couldn't be, I looked at the life that I wanted to live but wasn't living, and it felt like this gap, buddy, was so big. In psychology, I believe they call that a gestalt. And that is mentally, it feels like the gap is too big. You can't jump over it. I get my biggest running start and I would leap and I wouldn't even come close to this edge. I'd just fall into a ravine. And honestly, I think burnout, stress, and overwhelm come from that living in the future. And I think, for me, it was, okay, on the other side of that cliff over here, this valley, here's what I know could be possible. I was imagining, what if I had this amazing marriage? What if I had an amazing relationship with my kids? What if I had this amazing, business? And still, we're struggling. My health, financially, the last 2 years have been hard. It's not, I'm not where I still want to get to. But when I pulled everything back, Jeff, to the present, and I focused every day on what is that one small step. Today, with my boys, could I work on my anger issues? Today, with Donna, could I just show her a little more gratitude and appreciation? Can we just get a little bit better? What are some of those things I might have to do or learn for my business? And I strung along all these little things, and you know what? All of a sudden, the future just started opening up. Okay. Trust me, you're in a group of folks that are all right. I know some of you guys have some huge, massive dreams that could change the world, disciple nations. And other of us have dreams that are like, you know what? I just want to be the best father ever, because that is one of the most important things to me. Equally amazing. There is no judgment here. There's no, we are not a group where we compare. I think comparison is a cancer when we compare ourselves to others. Okay? What we want to do is compete with the best version of ourselves. And Chris said, yeah, remember, dude, you're off course 97% of the time. So, yeah, so dude, Jeff, you found the right group. I'll tell you that. This is a bunch of folks. And honestly, there's folks in this group that are way ahead of me. I've put in the work, and I think for some of the folks in here, I'm just a couple steps ahead of you. And it's just a forum where we're all talking and we're sharing. Okay. So how much time do we have? It's 9:42. So I'm just looking at this. That was awesome. Glad you threw that in there, buddy. And look forward to having some other conversations about that. And I want to show you something. So maybe this will be helpful to everybody, because I want to, with the time that we have left, let me just pull this up. And let's see if I can get this to work, because this would be really cool. Yes, score. Okay. Now, here's how these things come together. And you guys, when you guys get the book, you'll see there's a whole chapter, and this is a foundation of some things. But I want to share some things that today are going to help you be able to walk away with some things. All right, here was my goal. I wanted to get to a life fully alive. Right? We are meant to live a life to the full. We are meant to live a life fully alive. Right? There's somebody that said that. Right? That is what is meant to be. And if we are not there, there's some clues in what we can do. All right? I want you guys, I want to just share something with you to kind of, we're talking a lot about purpose. And there's a lot of people in the Christian world that refer to what the Ephesians 2:10 calling. Right? Those good works that have been prepared. I want to find those. Are they predestined or not? That'd be a whole nother conversation. But I want to focus on the first part of that verse that often gets lost. And that is what? That you are his perfect workmanship. As you sit right now, broken, flawed, damaged, unhealthy. Think about it. Coming out of my accident, I just finished 23 surgeries. Every part of my body was in chronic pain. I had a brain injury. I had no money. I couldn't think straight some days. Literally could not think straight. I would word find. I would be confused. I couldn't track with what other people were saying in a conversation. And I was trying to build a coaching business. Because what I accepted in that moment that I was perfect. From his perspective. Right? How exciting is that? There are no dependent events. I don't have to go get ready to get ready to get ready. I have slowed myself down so many times in my life saying, well, when I do this, then I can start giving more. When I do this, then I could maybe go get a coaching client. When I go get this skill, then maybe I'll change my industry and I'll be happier. Because we have to look now in the present. I think when we get future focused, man, that's when it gets heavy. Every season is meant for growth. We're learning, growing at all times. Totally agree. Right? And sometimes we get pruned. And then the vine grows back and there's even way more fruit. And you're like, whoa, that's cool. But getting pruned wasn't very fun. Okay. Now, in this, I want to talk about this. This is our passions. All right. Is it working? Yes. This is cool. Okay. So over here is our passion. So on a scale of 1 to 10, just ask yourself, and you can do an exercise, is what are my passions? Am I honoring them? They're bright little moments. They're not just general feelings. I mean, these are points in time. And you could ask yourself, in my life, where am I with my passions? Because here's where we want to get to. If you guys think about this, we want to get up here to this top corner, right? This is a 10, 10 life. We're going to put this over here. Okay. This is where I want to get to. This is a 10, 10 life. I'm going to make kind of a box here. Here. Wow, look at that. Even straighten out my lines. That's cool. Now, our passions, as we move to the right, it's going to give us the energy and the momentum to make changes, to move toward this area in the top. Okay, we want to move up and to the right. I think I'm doing that correctly on the screen. Now, what is over here? This side over here, it is who we are. This is our strengths. If we take inventory, this is our gifts. It's our skills. Skills, I believe, are things that we have learned, right? Let's say you're an accountant. You learned how to be an accountant. I learned electrical engineering. I learned how to be a pilot. Some of those skills are very perishable. I have to practice at them. Doctor, right? That's why they call it a practice, because you have to constantly work in those skills to be good at it, because there's just so much knowledge. And then we also have talents. And these are those things you just do naturally. Might not be something you can earn money with. Maybe it is, right? Like CJ is just naturally a good musician. He knows how to keep rhythm and a beat. And he does some amazing stuff with either slam poetry or music and just some cool stuff. But he has a talent in that area that he's worked in. He's applied talent and skill together. But this, right? So the passions is going to give you the energy to move toward that. Understanding, kind of your personal inventory is going to show you how to move toward that. Okay, now let me just show you where I was. Before the accident, working at that company, I would say that I was, if this is a scale from 1 to 10 here, I was working in my gifts, talent, skills at about a 7. I've been doing it for a long time. I was a bit in cruise control. I was working long hours. I would average literally 20 meetings a week, and I was just cruising. In my passions, folks, I would probably say I was maybe a 3. So look at this here. What is 7 times 3? 7 times 3 is 21. Remember, I calculated this and I told you guys. 7 times 3 is 21. No wonder I was in this place of smoldering discontent. Because what is all this? I'm leaving on the table. What is this up here, right? This is 100. This is on purpose. This is on fire. This is a life fully alive up here. And I was down here at 21%. Okay, so here's what we want to do. I want to take from here. Let's just say this is where I'm at. Let's just go over here. I want to move up and to the right. Here's the problem with that, okay? So let's just say for me, I'm sitting right here at this spot. Where do I go? Now, here's what I know that I have done in the past. I just want to share this with you, and I don't know whether this is a guy thing or a John thing, but here's what I did is this. Oop, put this back down. I would take this, and I'd be on this line down here, and I'd be frustrated right here, and guess what I would do? I would push up on this, and I would work harder. And I get tired, and I would push up on this, and I would work harder, and I would work harder, and I'd work harder. And in this right here, man, this was just the place where I was just getting so frustrated. I didn't know what to do next until I understood this. Now there's one missing piece, and that is down here. And this is you, right? And this is why I think understanding your core values, your core beliefs is so important, because what this defines here, this defines one thing, and that's who you be. Because the being informs the doing. This being right here is absolutely critical. And here's what we're going to talk about as we kind of close up today, as I've shared this chart with you, is this. I want you for yourself. Here, we're going to go with, let's go with a nice green, because I think that's kind of cool. Wherever you're at on a chart like this, I want you to ask yourself, what is a +1? What is a +1? Okay. Do you need, if you're here, do you need to maybe work this direction first? Maybe I need to, you know what? I need to get more in touch with my strengths, my skills, my gifting, and bring that more fully into what I do. Or like my friend Michael, who I told you about with the fly fishing, where he started out was his +1 was to the right. Do I need to move to the right more? Do I need to bring my passions into what I'm doing? Or in the present, do I need to maybe get more in touch? Maybe my +1 is I really got to figure some of this out so that I have a little more clarity. Okay? And this is what we're going to be talking about on Friday, is convergence, about how to really get this to work together well. Okay? So it's crazy looking at this visual. There's so much we can miss out on. Thanks, John. I feel okay. So here's let's see, am I back to camera? Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're going to do as we wrap up. It's 9:53 today. Here's the field work. Here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to think about this. Yesterday, the question was, if you could wave that realistic magic wand, what would you be talking about in a year? And I asked you to go ahead and share it. And, you know, what would that mean to you personally? Okay. This is honestly, and I think it's so cool that there's so many of you guys here and you're on live, right? How do we slow down to speed up? So here's another question. You know what? I just showed you this chart, and we're going to get to the +1. What I would like you to focus on today is this one question, and that's this. Between here and where you'd like to get to, right? Is there anything that might slow you down, stand in your way, or stop you from making progress toward that? What are the obstacles? Now, when I sit there with a client, I usually have to ask this at least 3 times till we actually land on something that's kind of real versus surface. Okay? What is that thing that's slowing you down, standing in your way, or stopping you? Now, here's what I'd like you to share today, because you can share that if you would like to, but here's what I'd love for you to share is this. What is one step, one action step that you can take between now and the end of the week that's just going to help you move either that's going to help you overcome maybe something that might be slowing you down, standing in your way, or stopping you? Okay? Could be reading a book. It could be sitting down and working with a coach. It could be pulling in and having a team meeting with a team that you manage and talk about communication, because you realize there's some conflict there. Everybody's going to have something totally different. Okay? And what you guys are going to share, I'll guarantee you, because what we're doing is we're starting to visualize where we want to go, right? In business, life, whatever it happens to be, spiritually, our families. There's a lot of family things going on here. It's awesome, right? What that means to you personally. And now we're starting to kind of figure out what are some of those next steps and those action items. And tomorrow, we're going to actually be digging into some things that I think are going to really help you out. And remember, some awesome prizes. Anybody that goes into the group and just shares, goes live on a video, writes a post. You can also email me, or Brian, in your case, shoot me a WhatsApp. I know you're up there in Canada. Okay. So it is basically the top of the hour. I totally want to respect your time. And here's what we'll do. I'll stay on a little bit longer if we have any Q&A. I think the Q&A is coming in here, right? So It's not showing me. It's kind of weird how it shows it to me, but I'm going to do my best here. So let's see. Current. So I'm going to start going into what I see in the comments. I can't see any comments past the last 4, just so you know. We'll have to figure out how to fix that tomorrow. I don't know why it's doing that, but let's see here. Okay. Current success in an. Oh, Donna said, check my text. Okay. You know what? Maybe if I had my phone pulled up, it would actually show me all your comments. So Donna sent me a very long text. What is that? She sent me a very long text with about, I think it's all the values. So, but I tell you what, you have my commitment by this afternoon, and I'll post it in here as a file. But we'll make that part of the book, so you guys can work through that right away. Okay. Okay. All right. Perfect. We can do that. Let me check the rest of my text from Don. I think that's it. Okay. All right. You got to go prepare for a coaching client. Go knock them alive, Gary. That is awesome. Okay. Everybody, it was great to be with you today. I look forward to seeing you all here in the group later. Please just share what is that one thing, that action that you can take. And remember, you can also email me. So with that, all right, Fieldwork, go live and put that back up, would you, Casey? Maybe that was up. All right. Go live and share one small step you can take by the end of the week to move forward. There you go. Thank you, Casey, for putting that up there. That was awesome. All right, guys. Have a wonderful, awesome day, and go knock them alive out there. All right. See ya.